You joining me, my guest at this time, the legendary master of the 5 count, the man long endearingly referred to as the walking condominium by the late great Colonel Monsoon, King Kong Bundy. Thank you for joining us.
That's what I like about you, Joe. You never lie. The legend. What'd you say? Endearingly referred to as the walking condominium by my good friend Gorilla Monsoon, no longer with us.
That's right.
Better him than us. What's up, Joe?
Oh, not too much. Happy to have you here back in Pro Wrestling Ohio.
Yes, PWO rules. I can't wait till my foot gets better and get back in the ring and I can take that PWO belt.
That's tremendous. You have a lot of history here in PWO. You had a match scheduled with Benjamin Boone about a year ago.
Yes, I did.
Unfortunately, couldn't happen. He is the big bear now. He thinks he's the top dog.
Let me tell you something about that punk. He's not King Kong Bundy. He's a good kid. He's a comer, but he's not King Kong Bundy. I've forgotten more about this business than he'll ever know. I've had 5 foot operations in the last 2 years. I got a bad hoof. You know what it's like when Man of War comes down with a bad hoof? It's some bad. I can't say it. Can't. What's on your mind, my friend?
Well, I want to talk to some of the longtime fans out there that have followed you through your career and sort of get your thoughts and opinions on a few of the big highlights that people remember you for. Typical first question, how did you break into professional wrestling?
You know, it's just a fluke. I broke in. A friend of my brother's, actually not a friend of his, he was a school teacher, and this guy, Dick Worley, used to be a WWF referee at the time. He, like I said, he was a good friend of Gorilla Monsoon's. He was a WWF referee. And my brother said to the kids, my brother was teaching his kids in school, Dick Worley, the referee's kids. Boy, I'm dragging this out, aren't I? If every question's like this, you'll be here for 3 days. But anyway, he said, tell your dad I want tickets. Somehow Dick got the idea I wanted to be a wrestler. My brother wanted to be a wrestler. Went to call my brother, looked in the phone, looking at our last name, and called me by mistake. I could answer that in about 20 words. That's it.
You had a lot of great success before you entered the World Wrestling Federation as well.
Yeah, I worked a lot of the territories. I started out, I went for Blackjack Mulligan down to Knoxville. Then I went to Dallas. Then I went to Louisiana. Then I went to Atlanta. Then I went to Tennessee. And that's when on a trip to Japan I met Hulk Hogan. And I wound up, I was going to Minneapolis, but he said, don't go to work for Vern, come work for Vince. And he was right. That was the thing to do.
At the time, I mean, that was a big time of change in professional wrestling.
It was.
Territories were starting to be phased out.
Yes.
Vince McMahon was rising. Jim Crockett was rising behind him.
Yeah.
Did you look at Vince McMahon's vision and have any hesitation?
No, not at all. I mean, I never thought he'd just blow the other territories out the way he did. I thought he would just expand on his. He used to have the territory. The WWF was what was called New York, and that was the northeastern states. I thought he might expand. I didn't think he'd take over the whole business, but all the territories, they sure made it easy for him. None of them would line together and share talent. They made it easy. Boom, he knocked them out like ducks out of the water, and he made it easy. They made it easy for him.
One of the things you're most remembered for is main eventing one of the first WrestleManias in Los Angeles.
That was a big thrill, wrestling Hulk Hogan in that steel cage.
That's right.
They've never used it again. Tito Santana says that's because the match was so bad, but no, he always says they never used it again. Bundy, Tito, what a ball breaker he is. Is this on cable?
Yes.
Oh, okay, so we can say that. Don't you kids say it though.
What about a year later, an infamous moment in your career, WrestleMania 3,
Yes.
93,000 fans,
Yes.
Little Beaver.
Yes, that was a big thrill being out there. I wrestled in Texas Stadium once, and that was Fritz von Erich's retirement match, and there was like 14,000 fans there. I don't know if you can imagine what Texas Stadium looks like with 14,000 fans. The ring was down at one corner of the ends. It was still a big thrill wrestling Fritz, and there was a lot of people, but 93,000, that was something special. And then there was the match, I got on a lot of local sports stations Hall of Shames for slamming Little Beaver. I was a little hard on the Beaver that night, Joe.
I'll leave that as it is.
Untouchable.
You're also very well known outside of wrestling too. You went to Hollywood in the late 80s.
Yeah, I did some TV shows. I did a lot of commercials. I did a commercial for a computer company that eventually got bought out by Philips Magnavox. But I had full-page ads in USA Today, Time, Newsweek, Sports Illustrated, and there was a lot of exposure from that commercial.
And you had a guest spot on Married with Children.
I was on there 3 times, actually. They only used 2 of the episodes. There was some problem with the other one. It was something with the content of the show. But I was on 2 there. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Did you miss wrestling at all at that point?
Well, no, but for both times I was wrestling all the time. I just took a week off to do Married with Children. Mm-hmm. But it was a nice break.
What was it like going back to work for Vince McMahon again in the mid-'90s? What changed?
Well, it would have been good, but I wasn't used very good. He said he was going to do something with me, never even really tried, and I never really. The business was so bad then. It was just, the whole time, it was the worst time in my career. It was just depressing, you know, when you're there. And if business was good and I was making money, I'd say, well, I'm making money, you know, who cares? But business was horrible. They weren't doing anything with me. It was just a bad time for me.
Do you have any thoughts on the product today and how it's evolved for better or worse?
I don't know. I mean, they've got incredible athletes out there, but I think the guys are just there too long. I mean, guys like Triple H, who's a great talent, don't get me wrong, one of the best, but he's been there for 15 years now. I mean, people get tired of the same thing. This business was built on bringing guys in, you know, moving them out. So I don't know.
What do you think the business needs to do to improve?
I think, first of all, they need to stop having main event matches on TV all the time. Of course, now that you've given that to people, I don't know that you can take it away. What do you think?
Right, they're conditioned to it.
Yeah, I mean, they expect it now. When I came back, I couldn't believe it. When I came back in '95, like, the fifth match on the card was like Lex Luger against somebody, which was a main event any other time. It just seemed like in the five and a half years I was gone, they just started giving it all away on TV. Remember, TV used to be, you know, squash matches,
right,
which you couldn't have those forever, but well, of course, Vince is making big money off that Raw tape, but the problem is the wrestlers aren't. Mm-hmm. When I was doing it, they're getting $100 to do Raw. You know, unless you're in the main event, that was a different story, but that's only two guys.
So after this storied and really successful career, what's next for King Kong Bundy? What's on the horizon?
I've actually started in stand-up comedy. Yep.
How's that going?
I will be. It's going okay. I'll be co-headlining at the Catch a Rising Star in January 2010. In Reno, Nevada. That's my biggest booking to date. I'm really looking forward to that. And right now, it's a business it's like I'm starting in the wrestling business, brand new. It's going to take a few years to get things down, but I'm hoping in the meantime things will go okay. But I want that belt, Joe, and I will be back for it.
That sounds good. Looking back on your career, do you have any big highlights that stand out?
Big highlights, just the WrestleManias and the pay-per-view events I worked on. They were the big things, you know, the most emphasis put on them. Those are the ones I really enjoyed the most. But I tell you, people say you get nervous going out in front. Whether it's 200 people or 20,000, just the fact there's people there, it's almost like the same degree of nervousness once you get in the ring. You know, you don't really think about it.
Well, once the saga of King Kong Bundy is fully told.
Well, Joe, that could
which
be
is a long way away.
Decades, brother.
Let's be fair.
I love this guy.
How would you like to be remembered by your fans and your peers?
As a guy who was a good guy, nice guy. What else? What would be more important?
That's right. King Kong Bundy, we thank you for your time.
So
Any final words to your fans? The floor is yours.
Just keep on watching. You're watching the best independent wrestling right here. Keep it up, and I will be back to get that belt.
This is Pro Wrestling Ohio on STO.